So, Par, talk about a little bit about your band and give us a brief history on it.
The band Sabaton was formed in 1999, so it's been going on for around 18 years. We play heavy metal, sing about historical events, much like the game World of Tanks as well. We do focus a lot around World War II though, and we have been since beginning of our career pretty much we have been focusing on this, and that's kind of our edge, and that's why it makes sense for us to cooperate with World of Tanks. Inside the game we have our own tank now.
So, talk about here what you're doing at Gamescom, specifically with wargaming.
Since Sabaton has been going on for quite some time, and we have been pushing the boundaries of heavy metal audience, we now look to a wider audience, and together with Wargaming and World of Tanks, we do a cooperation. Started actually to talk about this already 4 or 5 years ago, and now 1 year ago we really started to work together, and it took us a long time to think about all the details that we're gonna put into this game, and now here at Gamescom we are presenting the full cooperation. We are performing here, we are playing live at Gamescom, we are playing at the Wargaming party tomorrow morning, which is a big after party for all of this, and we are presenting the tank and doing a lot of funny stuff around here.
Yeah, so you and your band are actually in the game. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, here we are, our tank here, called the Prima Victoria, named after one of our most iconic songs released in 2005, and it's a modification of a Centurion tank which was used by the Swedish Army as well. We are also in the game portraited as characters, as the crew members of the tank. Originally a tank like this would have 4 crew members, but we squeezed in one more because we are 5 guys in the band, so we needed to have 5 guys in the tank as well on the game.
So talk about opportunities like you see in gaming and in music, a lot of transmedia opportunities, specifically with wargaming.net.
We have seen that the music industry is kind of limiting itself. It doesn't innovate as much as the gaming industry. So this is interesting for us, a way to work together where we have 2 leading brands, Sabaton from heavy metal, Wargaming from computer games, and then we work together to widen our audiences. As the both brands go very well hand in hand, a band that sings about historical battles and a game where you play it. And I think that the cooperation has so far turned out to be fantastic.
So your music is in the game already. Do you have any plans to do additional music for World of Tanks?
At the moment we don't have any plans to do exclusive material like that. The music in the game is not really songs, it's more like something atmospheric that you hear in the background, because you should be focused on the battle and not on listening to songs, even though a lot of people prefer to have the music streamed in the background or something. And we do heavy metal, so we don't do this orchestral instrumental stuff that is in the game. Even though I think that the soundtrack, the few songs that are in the game is really good actually.
So as a musician, what do you feel transmedia opportunities like this with wargaming open up for other musicians and other artists?
I think that there is so much out there for grabs for anybody who's in the music business. Just look outside of the box and you'll find a lot of opportunities. We do it here and we find something that works very well. Just don't rush after something just because, oh, they are a successful story. If I'm near them, we will also be a successful story. It's not that way it's gonna work. That's why it works here. It's trustworthy that we come up with our own tank in the game. We have a tank on stage, we've had it for years, and now we have one in the game. So it goes together that way, but it wouldn't really work if we would be cooperating with a fantasy game about dragons, because we don't sing about dragons and we actually don't believe that they really exist. So, but tanks we do know exist.
So you play World of War Tanks. What's your favorite tank in this game to control?
At the moment, of course, our own tank. But so far I haven't made it past the tier 5 because I didn't have that much time. I toured to, around the world 250 days a year. I can't sit down and play too much, but I'm working my way slowly up. What do I like? I like some of the Swedish tanks. It feels more fun to drive something that I've seen in the museums back home, and I try to push the Swedish tank lines to be the, the leading ones, and some of them are not as fun as others.
So your band sings about history incarnate, World War II history, which goes perfect with wargaming because they actually focus on World War II tanks that actually existed. So talk about that relationship and why your music fits so well into the game.
I think that when you just listen to our music, a lot of people always called it it's some kind of battle metal or tank metal, and with this cooperation we decided to call it tank metal, even though normally I just say that Sabaton plays heavy metal, but tank metal would be a funny genre, and maybe we invented something new that people in the future will be playing. That would be insane.
So you're actually playing here at Gamescom at the wargaming booth. Talk a little bit about that experience.
A lot of people were a little bit worried, is it gonna work with a heavy metal band performing there, but I was always absolutely sure about that it's gonna work, because you can't tell. You can look at people and you don't really necessarily need to know. Not every guy who listens to metal wear long hair and leather jackets as I would do. You have heavy metal fans everywhere in the community, and as you have gamers everywhere in the community, and the two things go very, very hand in hand. You have dedicated fans that follow something, and yeah, it works very well together. And here at Gamescom we performed, and it was absolutely packed when we played. Everybody was jumping up and down, as we would have had it on a normal concert where we would do. It would look the same. So actually it wasn't that big difference, even though a lot of people were a little bit worried if it's gonna work out. But it's just like playing a normal show, only a little bit smaller stage this time though.
Why do you feel it's so important for the world that the world should remember its history?
The simple answer would be not to repeat it, of course. Sadly, it seems to be failing quite well, because even though it would give us material to sing about the next 100 years of our career, I would gladly change that career for world peace, you know. But it doesn't seem like that, because it seems like war and sadly carnage and violence is in the human nature, and we don't seem to stop. So we are not learning from history.
So what advice would you give to someone playing your tank in the game?
To win, not to embarrass our tank.